Welcome to Breakdown. Today is Monday, February 6th, 2023. JJ, we at it again. We're going to talk SEC, Big Ten, basketball. We're going to break it down. You ready to do it?
I'm born ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right, JJ. Something unusual happened over the weekend in Bloomington.
Yeah, Indiana Hoosiers beat a team that they don't beat too frequently.
The number one team in the country.
Yeah, the Purdue Boilermakers. I believe they've won 9 of the last 10 against Indiana entering that game as well.
That was Purdue's second loss. How did that loss impact their ranking?
Well, Purdue is still the number one team in the country.
Still number one.
Yeah, a little less number one votes, but they have the most far and away. They have the best resume. And even after Indiana beat them down, covered the spread, the 1.5 point spread.
Okay.
Beat Purdue and then stormed the court afterwards.
Who say JJ is the number one team in the country?
I think Purdue has earned the number one team,
Okay.
that spot. I would probably give it to them. I think every team in the country is a little bit flawed. Who would you say is the best team in the country?
I would give it to Purdue as well. Mm-hmm. But would you want to be the number one team right now? Would you want to be the number one overall team going into the tournament?
I don't see any reason why I wouldn't want to be. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think history is on their side when you're the number one team in the tournament. But I don't. I'm just speculating. I don't know the numbers, but once you get to me, the biggest thing is getting there. I know in theory you got an easier schedule, but that's all in theory. I'm not sure, not buying that. Okay, fans stormed the court. Had they done that in the SEC, there would have been a penalty, a cash penalty.
Yeah, progressive fine every time you do it more, right?
Yeah. There was another big team with a big win over the weekend. St. Mary's. Not a Big Ten, not an SEC school, but they defeated Gonzaga. And what did they fans do? They didn't storm the court.
They did not, indeed.
They didn't storm the court. So
to be fair to Indiana, that wasn't the number one overall team. That was the 12th ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs at the time.
Do you think Indiana, who's rated 18 right now, do you think Indiana fans should have stormed the court over a win against Purdue? In-state school, in-state rivalry.
I absolutely think that they should.
Okay.
I think you should enjoy and appreciate every opportunity that you can. So I'm not gonna gatekeep Indiana fans from enjoying the win.
I don't take a position on it. I mean, I have no problem with it myself.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it. The number two team in the Big Ten, they keep on hanging around at number two. Rutgers.
Yeah.
When are they going to drop? They're the number two team in the Big Ten. They're 8-4 in the Big Ten.
They should be 9-3.
That's true. You're talking the Ohio State game, I'm sure.
Yeah, Ohio State loss.
They just keep being number two. Eight games to go.
Yeah, they lost Geo Baker. They lost Ron Harper Jr. But their defense, that coach, they reload and they're solidly within the field, solidly in the top 25. I think they're one of the top 3 teams in the conference.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, all they do is win, no matter what.
Yeah.
Purdue, talk about win. Are they going to lose another conference game this year during the regular season?
I would imagine not. I mean, I think they're the best team in the country, so I think that they're probably significantly better than most. I know Rutgers beat them at Purdue, and I know Indiana beat them at home, but I still think Purdue should be favored and should win. What do you think about them?
I don't even think there would be much competition, really, but I didn't think Rutgers would have beat them the first time around. It's at Purdue.
Yeah.
So who knows? That's why they play the games. The Big Ten, you telling me 9 or 10 2 weeks ago, you sticking with it?
Yeah.
9 or 10 teams getting in the dance.
Yeah, if you look at
the bracketology.
Well, if you look at all the teams that are on the bubble, there's a few that could go the other way, and the Big Ten could be a little short, maybe 9 or 10, maybe they only get 8 or so. But there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams fighting for those last 10 and 11 seeds.
Who are the 2 or 3 most desperate Big Ten bubble team?
Penn State, Wisconsin, and Michigan.
Michigan ahead of Michigan State?
I would say that they're more desperate because Michigan State's on the right side of the bubble right as it currently
I would agree with
stands.
you. I would agree with you totally. JJ, in 2021 and 2022, Big Ten got huge numbers into the dance. They flopped. What's going to happen in 23? They're going to get huge numbers into the dance, and what's going to happen?
Everything that happens is contingent upon everything else. So show me their matchups and show me their brackets, and I'll be able to predict it.
Well, in 2021, they had some great matchups. Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, I can remember that they had some great matchups, and they lost to like Oral Roberts or whomever.
I guess those weren't as good as matchups as you thought.
Okay, I'm just wondering though. You can. I mean, 2 times. No, I'm gonna say is an aberration. I would not expect it to happen 3 times. I just would not. Regardless of the matchup, I heard some people say that the Big Ten is as good as the Big 12. So if that's the case, I wouldn't expect there to be any flops this year. I mean, not in high volume. I mean, 1 or 2, that's always gonna be something like that. But if you get 2 or 3 teams dropping out in the first round, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell just because the Big Ten is always known for, being officiated a specific way, and they're known for their big men, the Hunter Dickinsons, the Zach Edey's of the world, and once you get out of conference play, you have to play, you have to adhere to a more finesse style of officiating. Okay. Is that what's going to come for Purdue? Will Zach Edey be, will he pick up 3 fouls in the first half or something like that in the tournament? That's one of those things that you can't really plan for.
That's true.
So that's one of the reasons that, like they say, the guard play takes you as far as it. You can only go as far as your guards can take you, and that was true with Kansas winning it all last year, and then North Carolina, Caleb Love and R.J. Davis got really hot, and they made it to the championship game. I just feel like I feel like the Big Ten has a couple of teams that have balanced enough rosters, good enough guards. They could make a deep run, but everything is contingent upon everything else, and everything's based on matchups.
Okay.
But I do like Illinois and potentially Purdue.
Well, you said that about Illinois, I believe, a couple years ago, and they kind of flopped as well.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there.
I mean, yeah, okay. So, spoiler alert: upsets happen in the tournament. That's just gonna happen.
I would talk about Purdue in the tournament right now, but it's early. I'm gonna wait before I talk about that. But before we move to the SEC, is there any dark horse team in the Big Ten that you expect might do more damage than expected right now?
I mean, I think that would be contingent upon like injuries. I think Michigan State has opportunity to do better than the record has shown because they haven't had their complete team for a lot of the year. Okay. If Tyson Walker can get healthy and Malik Hall can be healthy at the same time, I think they have an opportunity to put a run with they have guards with Hogard and Walker.
Hogard need to pick up his game a little bit.
Yeah, but Walker does have a very quick first step, and I think that they can go pretty far, depending on their matchups. I like them as a dark horse. I like Iowa as a dark horse. They have a couple of guards that can get to the hole pretty frequently, and Ulis, and even McCaffrey can get to the hole. He normally passes out of it, but he still can collapse the defense. And I like Keegan Murray's brother, Chris Murray. Okay. He's been playing pretty well.
Well, I like Michigan State as a dark horse.
Okay.
I think on a given day they can beat anyone, and like you say, if they can get healthy, they can definitely beat anyone. JJ, is Chris Holtmann on the hot seat?
Probably a little bit. I mean, he's 3-9 right now in conference. He probably should be 2-10. He has not had any any NCAA tournament success. However, he's always gotten to the NCAA tournament since getting to Ohio State. This will probably be the year that does not happen. But
There's no way they can get to the
yeah, I mean they'd have to win the
tournament,
They'd have
the
to win
Big
the Big
Ten
Ten tournament, which
yeah.
they have not shown the
Okay.
capacity to do. But yeah, I think they're a football school. I think he has a little bit of coverage, but it wouldn't surprise me if he left Ohio State, because if he you don't want to be on the hot seat.
Okay, wow. It would surprise me. I think his recruiting class coming in next year is in the top 12.
Yeah, but someone's gonna take the Texas job if Texas doesn't retain their interim, and whoever takes that Texas job is probably gonna open up a nice job where the fan base will probably be willing to embrace you. Look at how Shaka Smart is doing.
He's doing
At
great.
Marquette
He's doing
compared
great
to
at
after
Texas.
leaving Texas.
Yeah, he's doing great.
It would have been very toxic, and once your fan base isn't behind you fully on board, that makes it harder for the boosters to get behind you. It makes it harder to recruit. And
Calipari didn't have that issue. The fan base were not behind him. But that's neither here. Now let's get to the SEC.
Okay,
Jay.
let's transition to the SEC.
Yeah, when you talk SEC, you got to talk undefeated. There's only one undefeated conference team in the SEC, and it's not a football team.
It's a football school.
It is a football school, but it's not a football team. What school is that?
It's the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Undefeated, 10-0.
Yeah.
Will they go undefeated through the season? 8 more games to go.
8 more games to go.
Season is heating up.
I'm not going to say exactly who they lose to, but Tennessee maybe. I think that they don't go undefeated. I just pick the field if I have the option to pick undefeated or not, or someone gets them.
I would join you in that, and I would pick one team in particular to beat them, but we won't talk about that. JJ.
If Alabama did go undefeated, they would be joining 5 other teams that have done so. 4 of the teams were Kentucky teams, and 1 team was the Florida Gators. It was the Florida Gators.
Okay.
It wasn't the Florida Gator team you might think,
Okay.
but it was the Florida Gators who did go undefeated in conference.
Okay.
So they could join Florida and Kentucky, the only school that's from the SEC that's not blue, to do it.
Okay. Well, Alabama's been playing great ball. I mean, that one loss, though, when they lost by about 1 million points to Oklahoma, that was
that was very weird. That was,
ugly.
a very odd loss to a very bad team.
Yeah. Okay, the number 2 teams, JJ.
Mm-hmm.
Tied for second in the SEC. Tennessee and Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Texas A&M is like Rodney Dangerfield.
Well, Texas A&M needs to beat some teams that are making it to the tournament, because they might be tied for second now, but they have a pretty front loaded schedule, was full of fluff. So they're gonna have to prove it.
Well, they're 8-2 in the SEC.
Yeah,
same as Tennessee.
Arkansas gave them half of their conference losses.
Okay.
Yeah.
They still get no respect.
Well, they're on the bubble right now.
Number 2 team in the SEC is on the bubble.
Yeah, what's their total record?
Is the SEC that bad?
No, Texas A&M didn't play well to start the season off. They didn't start playing well until they got into conference play, which is good for them. But
Okay. There's a pretty big game tomorrow, Tuesday, in Lexington.
yeah,
WPS, Woo Pig Sui walking into town into Lexington. How bad will Arkansas beat Kentucky?
well, Arkansas is gonna have to show up, because Kentucky has been playing very well since benching their starting point guard. Not technically benching him because he starts the game, but Severe Wheeler basically they start playing better once he goes to the bench, and they move Casey Wallace over from the 2 guard to the point. And ever since then, they started beating teams. They've beaten every team except for Kansas, and I think they've 5 of the last 6 or something like that.
Well, that's the same with Arkansas. I think Arkansas is like 5 of their last 6, and their only loss
was
to
the Baylor, that they should have won that game.
Yeah. Arkansas is 5-5 in the conference. Kentucky is 7-3 in the conference. Kentucky had an ugly loss at home to South Carolina.
Yeah.
Arkansas Saturday went to South Carolina and
Had an ugly win.
and barely won.
It was an ugly win, yeah.
There's no such thing as an ugly win.
Well, it was their only win that Arkansas has on the road. So
Okay.
for them to pull it off in Lexington, they're gonna have to come a little bit better than they did against
How
South
do they
Carolina.
match up? How do they match up?
They match up decently. Severe Wheeler is very fast, but he's not going to be able to. I mean, I think Dio Davis matches up pretty well if you put him on him. I mean, I think Arkansas has a lot of 6'7" guys that you can switch that you can switch with defensively. I think that's what Eric Musselman likes, and I think they match up pretty well with Kentucky. Oscar Shibwe, I think Arkansas can do a lot and get him in the pick and rolls.
I like the Mitchells brothers on Oscar personally. I think that's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to that.
I think Oscar would exploit that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking
I'm
forward to
wrong.
it. You know what? I would mention there's an ex-Razorback who is at Oral Roberts right now. He's like, he was 7'2" when he was at Arkansas. He grew 3 inches, JJ.
Connor
Connor Vanover.
He's 7'5" now.
Yes, he's 7'5", and Oral Roberts is like a million games ahead in their league.
Well, when it comes to their league, the only thing that matters is winning the conference tournament. So
tournament,
hopefully
you're right.
for their sake that they can do that.
Okay, but I'm looking forward to the Kentucky-Arkansas matchup.
Yeah, 2 teams are on the bubble. 2 teams that desperately need that win.
Who needs it more?
And, well, Kentucky needs it more because they play again at Arkansas, Bud Walton Arena. So I would think the home team would need it a little bit more. Also, Arkansas has a slightly better resume. They've beaten slightly better teams at this point. So Kentucky, I mean, Kentucky did get a major win against Florida that they needed to pick up because Florida was on the bubble as well.
Which is surprising to me because Florida is 13-10.
Yeah, they had some really good wins. I mean, they had beaten Tennessee. That's what really put them on the bubble because before that, they weren't even discussed about. But now their margin of error is so.
Yeah, I don't like the way, not the way they all come together to create what they call quad one win, quad one losses, how that makes a team better than another team. I think on a given day, a team can lose to anybody, but that don't mean that they should drop 50 points just because they had a quad 4 loss. But that's just my take. It is what it is, and you got to learn to deal with it. Everybody's playing by the same rules, so it's got to be fair.
Yeah, you got to use their criteria that they use to judge.
That's true. Is there a dark horse team in the SEC? Is there more than one? Is there one, or is there more than one?
I mean, you could say the dark horse team would be Missouri. They're a really good team.
5-5.
They are 5-5 in conference.
17-16 overall.
17-6 overall.
I'm sorry,
17-16 would be something. But yeah, no, they're one of those quintessential teams where the collective is better than the whole, and they're really playing really well for their first year coach. I like them.
I love their coach. Go ahead.
They didn't look great against Vandy recently. They've had some.
They won that game.
Yeah, but they didn't look great doing it.
A win is a win. What did Al Davis say?
Well, they've had a loss recently as well.
True.
So, but I think Missouri has the ability to make a run as far as some of the lower level teams. Arkansas, they have an opportunity. They have some talent. They've been gelling lately.
Could Arkansas be called a dark horse, given that they went to the Elite Eight the past 2 years in a row?
Well, given that they're currently like 11 seed bubble team, like for last 4 in, and they lost their 2 best players to injury. Yeah, they could be considered a dark horse.
I'm not sure I would consider them a dark horse because they are gelling right now. But I agree with you with Missouri. I just absolutely love the Missouri coach. I know he brought 2 of his players with him when he came to Missouri. The other dark horse team that I'm going to say in the SEC, although you just said they haven't played anybody that doesn't have a resume, it's going to be Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I like that guy that they got, used to be at Michigan State quite a bit. And you know what? The bottom line is to win.
Yeah.
The way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. But JJ, really quickly, let's hit the Super Bowl. Give me your winner.
I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. Who you got?
I got Jalen Hurts.
Okay, well,
All right.
Go Crimson Tide then, I guess, right?
All right. Oh, in that case, we out of here. Come back next time. We're going to break it down for you one more again. JJ, what you got to say?
Kansas City is who they.
WPS. Wu Pig Sui.